This is the
with the
same
Yeah.
piano
house
player.
where we had
Same
the
house?
EDSA revolution. This is the same house.
That
So
looks so
all of the
different.
Oh,
Okay.
people were like, sardines here. All right. So just to give our audiences a background, so we were all very young at that time. So the year was 1986. We were either taking the bar, waiting for the bar, or fourth year at the UP College of Law. So I remember at that time, kasi ulila ako eh. So my house is very near EDSA. So my parents had died, and I was living in the house by myself. So what happens is that I go to EDSA trying to uh, show them go with my friends, no, with to join the barricades and all of the people who were there in EDSA. And whom do I see but the president of the UP Law Student Government, Attorney Gao Pronove, and I said, "Hey guys, there's no one at my house. Where's your headquarters?" Remember that, Gao? I think that this is the
with the
Yeah.
same
piano
house
player.
where we had
Same
the
house?
EDSA revolution. This is the same house.
That
So
looks so
all of
different.
the
Okay.
people were like, sardines here. But next time
Oh,
we'll
Don't
have it
forget na
here.
how
let's
to go
go.
there.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you remember of that event?
I remember it was with Lisa Araneta, who was
Uh,
class of 88
uh-huh.
or ano ba si Lisa? Anyway, and then we said, can we make it the headquarters? And you were so welcoming and hospitable, and we practically took over your house.
Yeah. It was so much fun. It was the on our end. It was the revolution of the bourgeoisie. We had free flowing beer. There was we had pre-packed lasagna, and then donations were coming all over. No, Eric, what's your memory of EDSA?
I remember that there was one night where a child who was living on the streets joined us, sleeping on the streets on top of newspapers. I don't know if you recall that, Gao. There was a child who just came from the streets without any home, without any food, and just, stayed with us. That was, I think, the first or second night of the EDSA revolution. So yeah, we started organizing during the day. We would be marching. During the night, we would be gathering in the headquarters in your house, Judge Princess.
At
For
least, at
us,
least, President Marcos was very decent. He didn't bomb us. If he were less of a man, he would have bombed us right there in the streets, diba? He could have done that.
actually, actually, Judge Princess, there were instructions from the administration to the military, for the
Oh,
military to get rid of the people on EDSA. And I think it was a call to General Artemio Tadyar, who refused. And there was a call by his uncle, Judge Alfredo Tadyar, who was our teacher.
yes.
And it was Judge Alfredo Tadyar who was calling to General Artemio Tadyar, his nephew, to stop any activity that would antagonize and that would result in the massacre of the people on EDSA. And
Yeah.
Judge Alfredo Tadyar, a very decent professor, a very great man, was very successful in his call to General Artemio Tadyar.
Yeah, I remember Professor Tadyar very well. I remember there was an anecdote because uh, I did not study. He was teaching us, I think, criminal procedure. And I didn't study at that time. So I had a botched recitation. And then he says to me, "Ay, Miss Bustos, I thought you had beauty and brains. Beauty lang pala." But at least, he stopped the revolution. And then what's funny, there was a part two there kasi he was our professor also at the Judicial Academy. So I go to him years later and I say, Professor, remember me, Miss Bustos? I'm Judge Princess Bustos Ongkeko now. I have some brains already. And now what he says, oo nga, pero ang taba-taba mo naman ngayon. Ay, talaga si Judge Tadyar talaga. Joel, what are your
Yeah.
memories?
Okay. At the time, I was staying at my brother's house in Parañaque, and they were in Baguio. My kuya and his family were in Baguio, and the brother-in-law of my sister-in-law was a retired military official, and he was identified with Ram. And during the time, wala pang mga cellphone, di ba? We just relied on telephone. And then out of the blue, without me being, because I was keeping watch over my brother's house while they were in Baguio. And then out of the blue, Manong Tony, that's the name of my sister-in-law's brother-in-law, Manong Tony and his family arrived at my brother's house and explained to me, uh, nobody knows about your kuya's house. This is the only safe place for us. We'd like to stay here. And of course, I couldn't refuse him. And so they took over the two bedrooms, the two spare bedrooms of my brother in my brother's house. And I slept in the Lanai area. And I was very paranoid at the time because, baka mamaya may na-trace sila Manong Tony and we would be attacked. So I could not sleep that night. So every time a motor vehicle would pass by my brother's house, I'd wake up, look out the window to check if there was any attack to our house. So anyway, my brother and his family arrived back from Baguio the day before Marcos fled for Hawaii. So I packed up and left my brother's house. I remember buses only went because of the Parañaque, no? So I took a bus only up to what is now Shangri-La Mall and walked from there with my duffel bag of my laundry for the week all the way to EDSA. Now, I do not recall anymore how I was able to find out that your house, Judge Princess, was the headquarters, but I ended up there. I must have bumped into some UP College of Law contemporary and I was pointed to your house. So yun.
It's funny, Joel, ha? When I
Oh.
first asked, kasi some of the people, among some of the people I invited was Pope Solis was another engagement now. So first when I talked to him, he said, oh, no, I don't remember being at your house. And then I tell him, Pope, I distinctly remember you sitting in front of my house. Sabi ko, don't you remember going to a house near Krame? Then suddenly, oh yeah, I was there. He didn't even know it was my house at that time. And now we are compares and comadres. Our sons are very close because they're both from LaSalle. And he was in the house and he didn't know that it was my house that he was in.
And when we decided to go to EDSA, I think we all just walked to EDSA. That's my remembrance, that we just went. Oh, okay, we're going to EDSA, so let's walk to EDSA. We didn't know there was a headquarters at that time yet, no? So when we were there, and then finally nagkaroon ng headquarters. Why? I think from my recollection, the headquarters in your house really was a product also of necessity. So of course, EDSA was just EDSA. No CR, no food, no nothing. So having your house very nearby, it became, we can go to Princess's house for CR.
I remember, Gigi, there was a bank run at that time. So when I invited you, since I was the only person at the house, so everybody, at night, we were like sardines, no? We were making lot of newspapers kasi hindi nakasya sa dami ng tao. And the funny thing is, walang nawala sa bahay. Sa dami ng people coming in and going out. Wala nawala sa bahay. And bank run. So I said, oh my God, how am I gonna feed these people? I have no food. I cannot withdraw money from the banks kasi bank run. But by God's grace, food kept pouring in. That's why I said we had pre-packed lasagna. We had steaks from Lisa Araneta. What's the name of her steakhouse? Does she still have that?
Alfredo's.
Alfredo's. Buhay po ba ang Alfredo's?
Wala na.
Hindi
They
na.
sold
Wala
the
na. Pero
land.
at that time, they had the Alfredo's dito sa Timog Avenue. And imagine, siguro we were thousands here, in and out. Even si Dean Carale was here. And then we had flags of the law student government. We had flags of the Philippines running outside. And then we did not want for anything. Water was being donated, rice was being donated. I remember, I think it was the Kamyas Bible Society that donated rice. Nedo, what's your
And
story?
beer.
And beer.
Well, I was at the time I was staying in a boarding house because I was already overstaying in the dorm. 2 years lang yung allowed sa dorm sa
Oo.
Ipil dormitory. So most of my friends were from Ipil dormitory. And I was not part of the group from the UP College of Law. They had a different group because I did not go to the college at that time. I came straight from the boarding house and there was some coordination with friends from Ipil
You were
dorm.
from Ipil. You were boarding at Ipil.
Before,
Okay.
after 2 years, I moved to Area 2 in a
Okay.
boarding house. So we coordinated and we went together with Ipil residents at that time. We walked to EDSA and we ended up right in front of Camp Crame. And that was, I think, February 22. We stayed overnight there. One thing that impressed me there was there were sandwiches and juice all over the place, the sidewalk, and then you just get one. I didn't see anybody get more than one. So there was a different spirit that I could feel at the time. There was no shouting, there was no violence. There were just people just walking around, going towards the camp, and we ended up right in front of the gate of Camp Crame, and that was where we stationed. We were coordinating with a church group at the time, and until dawn, there was word that tanks were rolling across Ortigas. Ortigas at that time was still open field. Wala pang Ortigas Center. May mga tanke na raw nandun. So word came out that we should join hands. So we joined hands with strangers. I didn't know the person on my right and on my left. And we formed a human barricade in front of the gate, which is on hindsight, that was a puny thing to do. You have a barricade like that against tanks. And then when it was light enough, I saw the helicopters from I think Air Force from Colonel Sotelo's group. And it was, I counted actually 9 helicopters. And they were coming in, 9 of them in single file. And that was when everybody said, no, we're going to be struck now. We're going to be dead. But eventually the helicopters landed inside. I learned later that in that kind of formation, that was not an attack formation. It was single file. So an attack formation is naka-lateral sila lahat eh. So they landed inside and eventually after some time when it was around, I think around 9 or thereabouts, the gates opened and General Ramos emerged with many soldiers. So I stayed overnight. I stayed on top of a Ford Fiera that was parked in front of the gate, also as a part of the barricade. And when General Ramos came out, we were ordered to get off the Ford Fiera because he climbed on top of the Ford Fiera and spoke to the crowd. So that was my my experience in EDSA at the time.
You know, there were religious groups, there were ordinary people, a lot of ordinary people. I mean, most I think from your neighborhood, we had the whole neighborhood was out, you know. That's why there was endless food. You know, your neighbors were like throwing out food, sandwiches, soft drinks, water, beer, you know. So fantastic. But at the same time, we were scared for our lives. So you had so many emotions during EDSA, from being scared, feeling betrayed, doubtful, to being hopeful. I mean, I think we felt everything there. It was such a moment of being alive, you know. Um, so EDSA was amazing that way. You know, it helped woke. I think for me, nagising, there's a part of me that woke up that, you know, Filipino ako.
When we think about it, we're laughing about it. People, Eric and Gao can talk about, oh, there was flowing food and drink, no? But at that time, really, I think there was a lot of apprehension. We were
And
going
fear.
there. We were sabi nga natin, is part maybe of the recklessness of youth. We went there without really thinking about the danger, but knowing at the back of our heads that it was dangerous. That sabi nga ni Nedo, the helicopters were coming in one at a time. not knowing that maybe one of them would drop a bomb or whatever. No, we don't exactly know what we had at that time, or maybe just shoot at the crowd, etc. But merong danger definitely, no? So there was always that fear that um, they would sort of wreak havoc on the growing group protecting Camp Crame at that time, no? So, but again, I'd like to underscore, number one, that yes, there was food overflowing. Why? Because part of the miracle, I think, of EDSA is that nobody, not everybody knew everybody, but every time you saw one on the right or one on the left, even if you did not know them personally, parang people were just there because we were all Filipinos, we were all concerned about our future, and people were selfless. People, even if they only had one sandwich, were willing to give half of it to somebody who was hungry, or in fact would be willing to give their sandwich if the other was hungry, not thinking about themselves. That was part of the miracle. And if I'd like to say something about Professor Balane. Of course, EDSA, the EDSA People Power Revolution did not last very long. So at most, I think it was 4 days. So on the 4th day, after we were already celebrating. So yun yung naalala ko na meron ng drinks. Although I
Mhm.
keep when the picture was shown that we were there, I keep denying that I was holding a beer bottle. Sabi ko, I think somebody else was holding that. And nagkataon lang na parang ako yung may hawak ng beer bottle in the picture in your house. But so
Fantastic.
that's my recollection. So a lot of not only emotions, as Gao said, but a lot of the recognition that EDSA People Power Revolution involved a lot of what? Divine intervention. A lot of miracles happened during that.
Yeah. I do believe in divine intervention. Oh, Maricar, what do you remember about EDSA?
Oo, marami akong memories pero let's go back to how I first heard about the call
Okay.
to go to EDSA from the UP Law Student Government. So I was then leaving off campus kasi I was already in 3rd year. Tapos I have another core memory in EDSA. Gusto kong balikan yung what Gao mentioned about Professor Alfredo Tajar, because I was in that same street in front of what was that, Crame, when Professor Alfredo Tajar spoke in English and Tagalog, tapos he addressed uh, his nephew, Colonel Artemio Tajar, tapos he said something to the effect that, first of all, he made known that he was there with his whole family. Parang ano to parang emotional blackmail na, oh, we're here, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. He was talking Ilocano, we couldn't understand it, but it was interjected. There was also speaking in English, so we eventually, came to understand that he was making it known that his whole family was there, and that parang the underlying thought was, okay, subukan mong ibomba mo kami. Andito yung pamilya mo, andito yung mga kamag-anak mo. Yun. Tapos, another core memory was being along Bonnie Avenue, di ba? Yung sa Krami sa side.
Bonnie
Tapos,
Serrano. Bonnie Serrano.
Bonnie Serrano. Yeah. Tapos si Rosemary King was there at the time. Tapos, di ba yung uso na kanta nun? Yung bombo magsaysay, yung ganon. So
Mambo,
kinakanta
mambo.
mambo
Mambo,
magsaysay.
Mambo,
So paulit,
magsaysay.
yeah, so kinakanta niya yon paulit-ulit. So and then there were sandwiches being given. Talagang nobody went hungry in EDSA. Wala kaming baon pero may nagbibigay. And I was there during the time that somebody approached the house of Judge Princess, and total stranger, tapos nakita niya kasi yung UP College of Law na banner, so nag-donate siya right there and then ng 2 sako na bigas. So everybody was happy.
I remember those 2 sacks of rice. Those were from the Kamyas Bible Society. So
Okay.
the people the people who believed in God believed in us. Oh, Joel.
Oo.
Speaking of
Yun.
bigas, it's funny you should bring this up, Judge Princess. So I think when I arrived on EDSA, when I still hadn't heard that all the UP law students were in your house, I remember, that youthful curiosity. I wanted to get inside Camp Crame. And of course, I couldn't get in. And I saw the banner on the main gate of Camp Crame, the UP College of Law. I couldn't go close. So I went to the side, the Bonnie Serrano side. And then as I was standing there, I remember this distinctly. Ace Berel, the actor, was there. And
Okay.
then he was inside. And then there was a delivery truck that parked by the gate, but they couldn't get inside the gate because once they would open the gate, then everybody would try to get in. And they were delivering food, sacks of rice, etc. And I volunteered to carry one of the sacks of rice so I could go inside the camp. So I was able to go inside the camp, carry, and then of course, nilapat ko yung sako ng bigas. And then inside the camp, it was weirdly calm and peaceful. And I tried to go from building to building. Again, youthful curiosity and carelessness. I tried to go from building to building so that I could go close to where Ramos and Enrile and Gringo were, no? But I think they had, yung parang, uh, ituturo ka sa building na mali. And then, pumunta ako sa building hindi, wala dito. So I was made to go from place to place. But ultimately, I think I ended up in the building where they had a setup for the radio broadcast. So yeah, that's one of my shallow memories of EDSA, that experience that I was able to go in.
I remember I was also in the COMELEC tabulation there at Batasan Pambansa. And I was together with a number of UP activists. And I suddenly, we heard this chanting, Marcos ibagsak, Marcos ibagsak, Marcos ibagsak. You know, the whole Batasan Pambansa was shouting Marcos ibagsak. Wow, that was a terrifying but inspiring moment for people to be unified towards the collapse of an administration that had long dictated upon the Filipino people what they are. That we are a crazy people, that we are a people who have been enslaved for a long, long time, and that we are not free people.